Hey everybody, welcome peeps. Wanted to go over DraftKings Reignmakers as we head into week 4. Still a lot of good opportunity going on in this. I'm going to do probably 3 quick videos today, basically looking at the quarterbacks, the running backs, and the wide receivers slash tight ends. Remember, there's 14 games left for each team plus the playoffs. So while card prices are not mooning right now, particularly on the core level, there's lots of good opportunities still in this. I've been selling primarily core cards and moving more into rare. Elite is where the biggest contests are, if you can afford to get in that. And remember, you can use one rare card in those. I'll touch on sort of what happened last week and stuff and what's been going on in the season as far as what winning lineups and a variety of things in the other videos as well. But I want to try to keep these fairly short. But they did institute, DraftKings did start deep roster tournaments this week, starting on Thursday. So what that is basically a big full thing with one quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a kicker, a defense, and a flex spot contest. And those cards are locked in, but they do include all the games. And there's a Thursday night game, there's a Sunday morning game in London, there's a Sunday evening game, and a Monday night football game. So it includes those. And that's a nice wrinkle they're adding in. I'm also going to look at the various prize amounts and things like that and tell you some of my results in the other videos. But what this does is it sort of also rewards people who are not dumping all their lesser cards and who are building up a sort of portfolio of cards, which is kind of what I've done. Sometimes I've sold a little too much quality for quantity, but it's benefited me because I've been able to enter every showdown, and I think every showdown core and rare lately, because I have almost 2 of each team sort of thing. Also, I had accumulated quite a few tight ends, some defenses, not many kickers, so I had to get a few of those on the marketplace. But basically what I decided to do was put sort of my best 2 lineups into the main fiat on Sunday, but then sort of like the next 2 best on core and rare into the Thursday ones. I was thinking the Thursday ones wouldn't fill as much, but actually right now they're filling pretty quickly. So we'll have to see. As far as I understand it, those cards are locked in for all the games. You can't use them again. However, one thing is if a card does sell, unless they've changed this, if a card that you're having an active lineup where games have started sells, then you lose the points for that, but your entry is not invalid. So you still keep your entry going. So some people are probably, trying to sneak through and whatnot, or flip cards type of thing, and maybe rebuy it for the Sunday games. I'll go over the games also a little more in depth, but I kind of want to go fairly quickly through this. Now, one thing is you got to keep in mind is there's been a big price movements in cards based on matchups for that week type of thing, and who's available and who's not, who's playing in the showdown games and who's not. Cards have rallied ahead of showdowns, and this is just to give you a perspective to maybe not get so caught up in that, and remember that there's 14 games left for each team, and also to keep in mind to potentially sell cards if they hit a good limit price ahead of your showdowns or even in particular weeks. I've been pretty hard, or I lowered all the prices on my core cards and been trying to move into rare. I'll give you some more examples of that going forward, but rare are like 5 times cheaper, roughly 4 to 5 times rarer than core. And oftentimes, bottom line is I would say core cards, when they get up close to $20, depending, there's a few exceptions above that, but I've been looking to sell them. So I lowered my price. I've sold several for like $17.95 type of thing. And then I've been buying rares sometimes that are 10 to 30. Now, is slightly less quality of a player potentially, but there's bargains out there. And I'll be showing you a few of these on here as we go through. So what this is based on, this is based on a PPR rest of season projection. And then I divided it out by 14 games. This is based on a sample of experts from one site that had updated their projections yesterday, Tuesday. All this prices and data are from yesterday, Tuesday, the 27th. And they don't keep in mind, who's got a showdown game this week and things like that. And also, I believe it's the exact same as DraftKings scoring for all the positions, but it might not have the bonuses for 100 and 300 yards. I'd have to check, but it's basically PPR based, okay? And I'm only looking at the rare cards here and the lowest floor price at the time. So core and elite and up legendary can be different, but the projection should be the same. So basically it broke down into what can be considered a tier 1 of quarterbacks. Allen, Hurts, Lamar, Mahomes, Herbert, Kyler, and Burrow. Between 19.6 and 23.4 points per game projection. Now, interestingly, they have Allen fairly sizably above the rest, including Hurts and Lamar. 2 points above Hurts, 3 points above Lamar. And all of these are basically 20 points a game or higher. The light blue ones are the current superstar cards. Now, Herbert, his projections, so the projections have moved because Herbert was up there around the top. So these are being adjusted as the season goes along by these experts. Whether they adjust as quickly as maybe they need to, that's debatable. And they have said they may change the superstars as the season goes along, but that may be based more on injuries, but also possibly for drastic underperformance. We'll have to see. Because some people are going to be really pissed if they make Hurts a superstar. But the bottom line here is you can see the floor prices on these and the projections. And this is a dollar per point type projections. So the green ones are the best deals on this table. Hurts is the most overpriced at $180. Now, he is the highest non-superstar above Murray and Burrow. Josh Allen actually looks like a somewhat relative bargain here at $110 if his projections are 3 points a game above Lamar and Mahomes. Hurts is 8 times, so clearly jacked up at $180 here. Herbert is a bargain, but he has a lingering rib issue at $60. Murray is a bargain at $75. Now, Burrow is in a Thursday night game and things like that, which can tend to have a short-term boost sometimes to the prices. But if you had to ask me on this list, the best bargains, I would say Murray and then possibly Josh Allen. All right, so that's sort of a tier 1 this is my grouping based on the points. So tier 2, again, these are projections from 9/27 and rankings and low floor prices on rares. So tier 2 basically goes from 17 points to 19 points. The highest being Tua, who's fairly close to the top tier at this point. Then you have Stafford, Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Carr, Cousins, Russell Wilson, and Lawrence. So you can see Russell Wilson's come down quite a bit. Rodgers has, Tua's gone up quite a bit. Trevor Lawrence has come up, which was one I was pretty bullish on for this season. Now, based on the prices here range from 39 to 82 for Tua. Now, he is, again, in a Thursday night game. And just a quick warning on that game, last week I told people on Reddit and elsewhere to fade Buffalo, Philly, and KC, and I said that they weren't likely to cover and one of them would get beat outright, particularly Philly and Buffalo, because they were coming off, Monday night games? They were on a short week and they went to division rivals on the road, and they had looked amazing the game before, so they were set up for a letdown. And Buffalo lost outright. KC lost outright at Indianapolis. That was when I was looking for a bounce back from the Colts. And the other one did cover. Philly did cover and win. But so you want to keep that in mind. So Miami's coming into a short week here, and that's why the Bengals are actually favored in this game by, I think, 4 points currently. I would think maybe 3 points is a fair spread, but I would be a little cautious about them. Plus, Tua is banged up. So at $82, he's jacked up, and he's overpriced in this tier currently. Cousins is also overpriced currently. I can't get to the other list of the other games. I forgot if he was in another showdown game. Yeah, no, he's in the Sunday morning game in London. So that's against New Orleans. In my remembrance, the London games sometimes are really low scoring, but that hasn't always been the case. And I feel like they're sort of weird or unusual in terms of sometimes who emerges in them. I would think it'd be if Kamara is fairly healthy, I would think that could be the kind of game he could shine in on a big stage. And if Dalvin Cook is out, Madison has been a really good replacement in the past, and he's very cheap on DraftKings Reignmakers last time I looked. Anyway, so Tua and Cousins are jacked up. They're in those games. There's not like a giant discrepancy on the relative bargains here, but you could say Stafford, Rodgers, Carr, and Lawrence. If I had to pick one on here, I would probably go. My favorites would probably be the Stafford for $50, the Aaron Rodgers for $39, although he's a superstar, the Carr for $45, the Wilson at $50, and the Trevor Lawrence even at $44. If you can get some rushing touchdowns, would be the ones I would point to on there at this time. So it's hard to sort of pick one out. If I had to pick one out, probably be Stafford, assuming he can stay healthy. He's one of those guys who'll put you up, 16 to 22 every week type of thing, pretty consistently. And a very good team, obviously. So the next down would be tier 3. And then I added some other bargain quarterbacks that are interesting to look at. Then there's ones beyond this as well. But tier 3 sort of goes from 16 to 16.5 points. And the last tier was up to 17. So in this one is Wentz, Goff, Winston, and Prescott. And these are all fairly evenly priced, at least the data I had. So not a huge screaming bargain there. Note Dak. Don't sleep on Dak. He's wanting to come back this week. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but he's basically wanting to come back as quickly as possible, and he can put up big numbers. He was projected very high by a lot of people this season. I would say Goff is an interesting one here at 35. He's another guy sort of like Stafford. He puts up a lot of garbage time points. He throws a lot. They both throw a lot of interceptions, but he's the kind of guy who will put you up that 15 to 20, 21 a week type of thing. So I guess I would say Goff, and then Prescott would be interesting as well. Some others, basically some of the other lowest price ones relative to the points are Tannehill for 22, Mariota for 25, Baker for 19, Davis Mills for 19, and Trubisky for 15. Now, Trubisky may get benched, but Mike Tomlin said he did want to keep with him the rest of the season. He's been awful. I was more bullish on him, so I would probably stay away from that even for that cheap price. Baker's been really poor, but I expected a little more out of him for 19. Tannehill, I'm not a big fan of, but he can be decent in fantasy. But the one I would probably be most interested in is Mariota, and I actually own 3 of those, but I think 2 were from packs. I own a rare one of those. And he's been good. He's been under the radar good, and their offense has been under the radar pretty good, and he can run for touchdowns. So at $25, but you can see you can get a quarterback for 19, a quarterback at 19 who's not projected that bad, or $22. So that gives you an idea of sort of where the projections are and how you tier them and where the prices are. I'm going to go over the running backs and the wide receivers and tight ends in the next couple videos. I'm going to talk too long, as I know. My DraftKings referral code, if you want to sign up for Reignmakers, it's still a great time. The card prices actually now on the marketplace are cheaper than they were at the beginning of the season in general. So you can accumulate good teams, and you can, I would say, to buy a superstar pack and a booster pack to start off with, as well as your starter pack, and then sort of maybe fill in holes on it. If you want to go in the full lineup roster ones, the deep roster they call it, then you are going to need kickers, defense, tight end type of thing. My referral code is Rufus Jones, RUFUSJONZ. I believe if you just go to DraftKings.com/R/Rufus Jones, that'll use that. If you wanted to be generous, you could tip me on NBA Top Shot or NFL All Day on Dapper. My username is @KentuckyWildcats. You could tip moments, and I think packs there, but definitely moments. That's it. I'm already at 15 minutes. So I'm going to do the next 2 videos here real quick. Thanks for checking out, guys, and I'll have a good fantasy week.